Jaguar hasn't had a compact luxury car contender since the late and unlamented X-Type disappeared, but now it's back in the game with this, the all-new XE. It's all aluminium, it's certainly good looking, and it arrives in Australia in September. What we wanted to find out was whether it drives well enough to take on rivals such as the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes C-Class and the Audi A4. So how does Jaguar go about taking on the German big guns in the field of small but relatively expensive sedans? It's pulled out all stops with the XE, not only producing an all-new platform based on a mainly aluminium body, but also a new factory and a new range of engines called Ingenium, the first of which is the 2-litre diesel in this car. As well as the diesel, when the XE arrives in Australia this September, we'll get a 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine and a 3-litre supercharged V6 in the range-topping S model. Prices haven't been finalised, but you can bet they'll closely match major rivals, meaning a step-off point of around 60 grand for the cheapest prestige version, heading northwards to around 100,000 for the supercharged S. For those who remember the retro-looking X-Type, the XE's sharp and tightly honed lines may come as a surprise, but this is the new face of Jaguar, following on from the similarly svelte XJ and XF sedans. Under the skin, the XE actually owes a lot to the F-Type sports car. The front suspension is pretty much the same, as is the 250 kilowatt engine in the S, and of course it's got rear-wheel drive, and the lightweight but strong aluminium body doesn't hurt either. So you'd want to hope it goes hard and goes well. The good news is that in any of its guises, this new baby Jag is something of a revelation on the road. Starting at the top, the supercharged S has heaps of straight-line performance. Mash the pedal, let the 8-speed auto look after the gear shifting, and it will hit 100 kilometres an hour from standstill in a claimed 5.1 seconds. And it'll make all the right noises on the way and beyond. We drove the XE S on the Navarra circuit in Spain, and while racetracks aren't always kind to luxury cars, this one worked well, with very little understeer, plenty of balance and, of course, lots of speed. Away from the track, the S is just as impressive. Despite the most sporty suspension setup in the range, it actually rides well, so it's comfortable as well as sporty. Cheaper versions of the XE are just as impressive in their own way. The new diesel is strong, silent and smooth, and of course it's the frugal choice with fuel consumption of around 4.2 litres per 100 kilometres. The 2-litre petrol turbo uses more fuel, but with 177 kilowatts in the more powerful version and more available revs than the diesel, it's a lot more fun as well. On the softer standard suspension, it rides like a pocket-sized limousine, so there's plenty of comfort, but like any XE, there's heaps of front-end grip. The new electric power steering is direct and loaded with feel, and it's actually plenty of fun to drive. Inside, the driver is faced with a dashboard that sweeps elegantly into the door trims. There are deeply recessed major dials, plenty of leather, and Jaguar's new in-command infotainment system acts like a smartphone and can mimic some apps found in an iOS or Android device. The rear seat's a bit tight on legroom, but headroom is okay despite that sweeping roofline. And the 450-litre boot is adequate rather than huge. For those wanting more space, the XE's platform will spawn an SUV variant called the F-Pace, which will be appearing within 12 months. Well, the XE certainly goes well on roads here in Spain. It's quiet, it's comfortable, but more importantly, it's also fun to drive. And it's got that almost indefinable luxury car feel that's difficult to attain in a car this size. I reckon it deserves to give its rivals a bit of a stir and continue Jaguar's renaissance into being a true luxury car contender.